Yeah, I want to go over some knife sharpening. Actually, this is the way I do it. I know it's the quick and dirty method. It's not the best method, maybe, for getting the ultimate edge. But if you're using the crap out of your knife, and even something like this, which I kind of like this knife, I would have no problem using this Damascus edge blade to clean off battery terminals. So you might put nicks in it. Like the other night, I was trying to get out a plastic bolt that was snapped off inside of a carburetor for the choke cable, and I took this knife, which is the Remington, and I just stuck it in there and I just freaking till I got it out, you know, and I probably put some nicks in the edge. So what I do is a lot of times I use the pull-through sharpeners. I know they take off a lot of metal, but you know, there's different ways you can use these, and this one's kind of worn out. In a lot of ways, that's not bad, because if you just want to touch up your blade, it's not bad to use one that's a little bit worn out. It doesn't take too much metal off. And of course, it's got this ceramic edge. What I like about these is they're small, lightweight, and you can stick them in your pocket, and they're fast. For all practical purposes, they'll put a good enough edge on the damn blade so it works, especially if you're doing like, I mean, say you're not doing like bushcraft or something. Say you're doing like, you're cutting open boxes, or you're working on cars and doing mechanical work, and you're cutting through stuff, and then you hit metal and wire, and you put a nick in a blade. You know, that's the kind of stuff I do. Okay, so that's why I got a lot of knives, because I figured I'd spread the abuse around, right? And actually, this one's taking a lot of abuse. It was $5 from Wally World. And one thing I like about knives, though, especially, is having this serrated edge. You know, if you're trying to cut through plastic or even cardboard, well, cardboard, the straight edge works good. We say you're working through plastic or some kind of heavier material, this serrated edge really cuts nice. And that's great for like the zip ties. So like if you're working with zip ties, you're cutting the ends off the zip ties, the serrated edge cuts them like freaking butter. This thing doesn't cut them as quick. You know, it's just easier. Say you're putting a lot of loaded zip ties. Say you're cutting off some rubber gasket material or molding off of something, the serrated edge works better. Say you're cutting through a really thick, the end of your heater hose on your car, your truck, or your Jeep, or your Suzuki SJ413, and you're cutting off the end of the heater hose or the fuel line because it broke, and you're going to cut that end off or it broke and then slip it back on. Well, it's a lot easier to work with this, and this actually cleans off crap as a scraper faster. But serrated edges get dull. Now, this thing is, now you could actually put this through a pull-through sharpener and get that serrated edge cleaned up a little bit, but what you're doing is, when you're doing that, you're actually just going over the top of it, you know, and it's not really that freaking smooth, obviously, and you can kind of get, you're wearing it down, basically. You can get it, you can even get the serrated edge a little bit sharp temporarily with a stone, you know. But the best thing, this is like, these things are dirt cheap. This is why I'm saying they're quick, dirty, fast. That's why most, you know, I mean, if you're a chef working in the kitchen, you ain't gonna use this crap, right? Okay? More than likely, if you're a chef in the kitchen, which I've seen plenty of those guys do, they take two knives and they sharpen. Actually, they're like, they're straightening the edge. They put the knives together and they go, you know, like that, right? They do them like that with the edges. They're not actually sharpening, but they do that like 20 times a day. So now this is the ceramic side. I was meant to pull this part out. This now, you know, you could just go over it like you see, you get your edge right there. You just go over, you can go back and forth on the damn thing. That's all you got to really do. I mean, you don't really need to get too damn fancy with it. You know, you don't have to go in one direction, because it's just a damn serrated edge. And you got this ceramic, which I don't even freaking use, to tell you the truth. But I've got this serrated edge was getting dull on this knife and a few other knives I had, because these were like well used for mechanical work and stuff. You know, stripping wires, cutting wires and crap like that. So the serrated edge was getting chewed up. I sharpened it fine with this damn thing. It's only like, it's under $10. It's a Lansky jobber. This has the coarse side. This is great to have in your pocket because it's about as big as this, or maybe even smaller the way it folds up. But it's got the serrated edge thing on here. It's got the file, and you got this ceramic. So you can go over it like this, you know. And you know, you don't need to go in one direction. Just watch your hand. Like if you're doing this, like this thing is actually pretty good because I don't see how you can really screw it up too much, you know. I don't really do it perfect, you know. I mean, because I use the crap out of these things, man. I'm not a chef in a damn restaurant. I'm using some Japanese steel knives trying to cut sushi up or some shit or whatever the hell these people do. You know, I actually kind of, when I use this knife, okay, sometimes it is on plastic, it's not going to get screwed up, but then a lot of times it's on metal crap. It's scraping off corrosion or, I don't know, whatever. Something that's going to dull this edge up. So I'm not going to spend all day freaking trying to get a perfect edge on it because it just got to be good enough edge to freaking work. The thing I like about this, it's tiny, it's small, and for the money, it does a good damn job. And it's still got the pull through sharpener. So for instance, whoops, like that. You can put it on the ground here. It's got the handle, which is cool. You know, this little handle. It's a small little guy, and you can pull them through. Now, I found. Now these carbide blades, they wear out after a while, right? It's probably this way, man. You know, sometimes you got to watch the direction, because this one tells you this is the side you pull through right here. Actually, I use this one the most. You can hear it. That's actually taking off some metal. But what I do is, you do it with different pressures. I don't actually use the same pressure. I start out with a higher pressure, then I'll finish with a lower pressure. And I found as these little bullshit blades in here wear out, if you go on an angle like this, you can get a lot more life out of those blades, those cutting edges. You go like at an angle. Like if you go straight like this, that's the normal way. But as they wear out, you can go like on an angle like this and an angle like that. And I found that even this one, that's like probably 10 years old, that I use the crap out of, it's still got life left in it as long as I go at an angle like this. You know? It's still got some life left in it. So that's another thing, because these carbide blades, they do wear out after a while. And like take this one, yeah, these are replaceable, see? It's got a little freaking thing, you could buy them. I don't even know if it's worth replacing though, because the blades on this are probably what this thing costs with the freaking with your little file on here and crap. And this file actually comes in handy for a lot of crap too, besides the little diamond thing. Sometimes you're working on cars, man, you're cleaning off contacts or whatever the hell it is. This thing's pretty good. I actually don't use the ceramic. I mean, that's for really fine tuning that serrated edge. Like this knife. This knife is basically brand new, unused. This knife is extremely well used, right? Everything on the cars and crap. This knife is brand new. It's actually it's in my Suzuki SJ 413 Jimny. It's like a little samurai, pre-production samurai. This has a serrated edge, which I find highly, important. Something as a side note too, on this pocket clip, before, because I know it's got these two little screws on here, I put some freaking crazy glue or super glue on there to make sure those screws don't come out. Actually, you probably should take them out and put Loctite on them, but while the knife's still clean, I just put some super glue on there so they don't back out that easily, because I want that pocket clip to hold it nice and solid. But even these cheap ass knives, the deal is, if you're buying cheap knives and they're everyday knives, I don't know why the hell you would need a sharpening system that's super high end. If you are a chef in a restaurant and it's very important that your knives are the sharpest condition possible, yeah, maybe it would be. And maybe if you're one of these people that are special forces or something like that, or whatever, SEALs, maybe you want the sharpest knife possible, at least before you go out in the field, right? But if you're an everyday person that uses the damn knife for all kinds of stuff that maybe knives aren't supposed to be used for, and you got these cheap knives that are, like this one's $25, right? This is not even expensive. It's like a pretty solid Damascus steel. I put it on the other video. It's really welded steel, whatever the hell it is. Probably not bad shit. But even this $5 knife, man, This thing's been, it's surprising how long this freaking damn thing's been lasting. Winchester, man. Man, this thing went through hell and back. Wally World $5 special. I sharpened it many times with this thing, and I've used it many times for things that really, like a gasket scraper, you know, metal on metal, get the material off, battery terminal cleaners, electric contact cleaners, all kinds of stuff, man. Cutting through freaking wire. And you know, it's been resharpened many times with this. I don't see it wearing out in the next 25 years at least, and it's only a $5 knife. So, and it is plenty sharp enough for what I'm using it for. So these things aren't bad. And the only thing that's missing is, like, you want to have this thing for the serrated edge to sharpen that up. You really don't need this crap. I mean, this is like fine tuning the serrated edge. I really don't even use the ceramic to sharpen a blade. I just go over it sometimes with the carbide, and then I go over it lighter. You know, I use less pressure, and that gets it reasonably sharp. Because more than likely, these aren't blades that are, you know, I mean, there's blades out there that cost you hundreds of dollars and crap, and I got K-bars and crap like that, but I'm not going to freaking work on my car with a K-bar. Sorry. You know, I use the cheap stuff. And these are the perfect sharpeners for it. And actually, this thing does a very good job on a K-bar still. Just like, you get it more fine-tuned as you put less pressure on it. I don't even bother with the ceramic. I just put less pressure on it, and the blade gets a finer edge on it. And I got the one like this for the axe and machetes too, which works very fast, which is very good for when you're out using an axe and machete. You could take, it's not this thing, it's almost like this thing. It's got like a handle on it, different kind of handle. You know, you're using an axe and a machete out in the field. You don't want to be messing around with some high-tech bullshit to freaking get that axe really sharp again. I use the Smith's little portable thing, the pull-through thing, something like this. And like I said, you know, if you're using the tools a lot, you're not trying to show off that you got the sharpest knife in the world or some crap, or you know, your high-end chef back there in a big restaurant that charges you, you know, $200 for a meal. Well, this is really all you need. And you know, I mean, I got loads of cheap knives that are pretty freaking solid. And like I said, even this damn $5 knife, I mean, I don't know when's it gonna break, man. I'm not torture testing it with a sledgehammer. I'm just using it, right? It's been around for like freaking, I don't know, 10 years. Still ain't broke. So I don't think any of my other cheap knives are gonna break either. And I still got some pretty good shit like K-bars and stuff, and case, and old USA German buffalo skinner and crap like that, and S-wing axes and hammers and junk. But I don't go to town with this freaking fancy crap with sharpening the knives. Like I say, if you use these pull-throughs, just go over it. Start with a heavier pressure and then a lighter pressure as you finish it up, and that lighter pressure takes off less material, and then it's you get a pretty damn good edge with these damn things. And as they wear out, you just put your blade through it more at an angle like this, and that carbide, see, like that carbide will yeah, you can hear that shit. I don't want to go through it. This thing's been, yeah, it's pretty sharp. It's still sharp. I already sharpened this bitch up a couple times, man, so it's cool. This is the bad boy that goes in my Suzuki now, so I got it clipped up there near the roll bar. It's got a saw. I think this thing's for sawing like light wood or some shit, plus a serrated edge and a glass breaker, and freaking crazy good deal for like $8, man. Aluminum handle, not bad. Yeah, so you know what I mean. It's like saying you want to get, you know, if you get a really good knife that costs you hundreds of bucks, you want a really good sharpening system. But I don't really think you really need a really good knife unless you're like a real super survivalist. And a K-bar is good enough actually for any survivalist, to tell you the truth, or you're a chef. For most people, you don't need this crap. And it's almost like if you get $10, $15, $20 knives that aren't that good, it's almost like taking an old beater car and using a, you know, 100 pounds of 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 100 you know, a can of $25 wax on the paint to freaking try to make it look spiffy again. I mean, you know, you're better off, you know what I mean. It's got to be balanced out for whatever the hell it is. In other words, if you got crappy knives, you don't really need the best damn sharpening system in the world anyway, because the steel's only so damn good. It's only going to get so sharp anyway, and you're going to have to sharpen them more often. So these are good for everyday people. And like I said, you definitely, this one I think I would recommend. If you just buy one of these damn things, this thing's like under $10. I think it's like between $6 and $9. This thing with the little diamond blade, this one would be probably the best one to get. This Lansky jobber, or maybe Smith's another good brand too. Very easy to use, and it did get the serrated edge good to go again, like nothing. So, and the tool is actually good for other shit. So, anyway, you know, keep it simple, stupid, and don't spend too much money. That's really what it comes down to. Don't be sold on freaking. You know, I got a knife that I can hammer this knife through a freaking brick and whatever, fine, great. I mean, normally you don't use a knife for that shit. That's what you got a sledgehammer for and a chisel, right? You know what I mean? Very few people need that kind of crazy shit. And like I said, even the damn, I got about 4 K-bars and some other stuff like them. The K-bars to me are damn good enough for the money. They're not that expensive. So I'm kind of like, keep it simple, stupid, and just like an everyday person, I don't need to get all too fancy with shit. That's what it is. That's the way I work.